So this is what it comes like, and this measures 7 inches tall by 5, so it'll fit in an envelope for a 5 by 7. And then you open it up and you've got this double Z fold, and I've staggered it as well. So as you can see, it gets smaller. So that's the idea of it. So it's a double Z fold card. Now for this, a box card even. So the full title, let's start from the beginning, is 5 by 7 staggered double Z fold pop-up box card. So I've amalgamated Z fold cards with box cards and staggered them and done a double. So yeah, so this folds right down and makes a 5 by 7, but obviously it pops up really well. If you wanted to as well, I mean, you can play around with this. Do you know what I mean? There's lots you could do with this. You could do them all the same height. You could have your back section as being 5 by 7. Maybe cut it off here, have a panel at the back here 5 by 7, and then make all of your other sections, you know, the same height. Or you really could, you could go to town with it. So the dies I've used on this Happy and the Birthday is from In Love Art Shop. So if you use my code Iced Images, you'll get 20% off your order. This card, if you remember when I went to that craft show at the National Motorcycle Museum recently? Well, that's one of the card that I got, and I just thought it was quite cool because it kind of stands out. Silver kind of goes with the purple, and I quite like it. It's a bit jazzy, a bit different. So yeah, so that's what we're doing today. So if you want to, you can actually cut all of these strips separately. So if you've got, you know, in the chat, I noticed you guys were talking about strips and offcuts. So quite often I end up with A4 length strips that are like 1.5, 2 inches wide, maybe 2.5 inches. Do you know what I mean? They're just kind of strips, and I keep them in like a see-through zip-up pouch. So if you have strips like that, then use those by all means. But I'm going to show you how to do it out of one sheet of card because it's less scoring if you do it this way. But as I said, if you're going to change up your sizes, you go ahead and do you. Okay, so I've got a piece of card here. Now I did originally do it with a 12-inch length. However, I discovered that if I did it with a 12-inch length, it then threw out some of the other measurements. So this is actually 10 inches by 11 3/4. And what you want to do is on the 10-inch length, you're going to score at 2.5 and at 5, and that is all the scoring that you need to do. We are going to, so I'm going to turn it this way around now, so I'm going to cut it into strips this way. Okay, so I need one strip that is 4.5, you need one strip that is 3.5, one that is 2.5, and then you should be left with a 1 1/4 left over. And as I said, if you want to change in these measurements, please go ahead. Right, okay, so that's what you end up with. So you've got all your pieces there. You probably can't see them all, but that's all your pieces. And then what we're going to do is take our score tooly thing, this thing, whatever it's called, bone folder, that's the word, and we're going to go ahead and just do the same fold on all of them. So you're going to do a mountain and a valley. Okay, so I'm going to deal with 2 at a time. So if I deal with the 2 smallest first of all, if you get the largest out of the 2 smaller ones, so this one here, which is the 2.5 in height, this is going to stick onto this one. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to turn it round like that. So if I put it through around, you can see. So you've got a long piece, Z, this is a long piece, and then Z. And we're going to stick this piece onto there and this section onto here, but obviously you only need to glue this part of that piece, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and do this bit first. I would use either red tape or strong wet glue for this. I wouldn't use normal double-sided because it might not be strong enough for what you need. So I'm just going to glue on that one bit there, and then just fold that whole section down, flip this over, line it up, and then just stick that down. And what should happen is those 2 folded bits should more or less meet in the middle. I mean, they're not touching, but it's fine. They need to not overlap. That's the main thing. So that is that. And then we're going to flip that little bit back. And then that means then I know where to put glue on here. So we're gonna put that on there, and then we're going to flip this over and stick this down. And so that is your first little mini Z fold. Okay, so there's your little first mini Z fold, and it's just staggered. Okay, so we're going to put that to one side, let that dry. We're going to repeat the process all over again on this one. So again, the largest piece is at the back, fold that down. This one we're going to turn over, so we've got the largest piece at the front. So again, it's like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on here. So let's just gather that all up like that. Turn it over, and I'm lining it up along the bottom edge. And then we're going to open this up, and again, just add some glue on here, but again, just on that bottom section. I find it easy to add it on this main piece of card rather than on there, because I can kind of see where the line, where the edge is, so I can kind of follow that. And then we're going to fold that over and stick that down. Now, on my sample card, I did it the other way round, and by that I mean, okay, so on this one, what's going to happen is, yeah, so I did it like that way round. So, but obviously this was layered up with the bottom, not the top. But I did it so that it opened up the wrong way around. Same with that. So this is how I did the sample card, like that. So it opens concertinas that way. But for this one, I'm going to have it concertining the opposite way. So it's going to go this way. Okay, so just so you can see the difference. So depending on which way you do it, depending on which way it'll concertina out. So next we are going to, did I do? Yeah, I did. We're going to stick this onto the front of here. If you want to put pattern paper in first and then stick it on and hide most of it, you can do that. I also haven't done matte layers for this. I've only done pattern layers, just because I think it's quite a busy card anyway, and it would mean cutting out a lot of pieces. So I decided I wasn't going to do that. Right, okay, so there is your base. So as you can see, it just staggers its way down. Now, as you can see the difference as well here, I've got all the same coloured card base. So you don't see the levels quite as well as you do on the other one. But I think once we start adding the pattern paper, I think it'll be okay. So I originally did a sample. Here's my sample. Okay, and so this isn't completely correct. So this piece here needed to be 1/4 of an inch shorter, which means these two are slightly different height to these two. Okay, so just bear that in mind. If you want to even them all out so they're all the same, go ahead, please do. It makes it easier for you, but yeah, I haven't done that. So what I've done, as you can see, I've put in A's and B's and C's and whatever. So this then means in my little book where I've got the measurements written down, I can see what bit goes where, and therefore if I want to do different patterns, I can. So I've decided to go for this star and stripe one along this bottom section here, and then the lipstick one along this section here, then stripes, then lipstick. So we're going to start with this one. So you need two pieces that are 1 inch by 4 3/4. So one is going to go there, and the other one is going to go there, like that. So I'm going to stick these down first. That's those two pieces. So next up, we're going to do these pieces here. So you've got pieces here, pieces there, pieces there. Now I've decided to do that one there as 2 pieces, but if you want to do that whole section as one, you can. I've made it more difficult for myself, so I'm going to have one there and one there, but I quite like the idea of stripes. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 in total. Oh, and then here 5, 6. I've actually got 6 in total. So then we've got one piece here, and this piece here is 3/4 of an inch by 4 3/4. And then I've got this piece here, which is 3/4 of an inch by 2 1/4, and that's the same for these. These are also 3/4 of an inch by 2 1/4, and this one here is also the same. So this is 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, so that's so far. Yeah, that's cool. I haven't done these pieces here because you don't really see them, but that's that. And then we need to do the struts. So you need 2 pieces that are about 1 inch by 7 1/2, and we're going to score these. So both of these pieces we're going to score at 1 inch, 3 1/2, 4 1/2, and 7. Okay, so we can do that same on this one. And then we just need to mounting fold all of these lines. Right, so then I'm going to go ahead and stick this together. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue or red tape on this little 1/2 inch section here, which is the tab. And then we bring that over like that, and then bring that over the top like that, stick the whole thing down, and it makes whatever you call this. I need to wait for that to stick really, but whatever you call that. But therefore you've got 2 struts, nice and even. You know you're not going to have like wonky, and it also is easy to put in your box as well. Right, so there we go. So you end up with 2 pieces like that. Now the way you've just stuck that is the way it needs to go into the card. So let's bring back our little board. So now what we need to do is add in these struts. So my card, you can see this bit folds like that. So because of that, just need to turn that round. That needs to echo the same. Can you see how that folds? So you've got the 2 short edges and then the long bits. So that whole section will fit in like that. And what I've found is easiest to do, it's easiest to use wet glue rather than red tape. You can use red tape if you want, but I find it's easier to use wet glue because it allows more time for error. So I'm just going to glue both sides of this, and then I'm going to slot this in where I want it to go. So it's going to be about there, and then we're just going to shut it like that. So I've just sort of gone with one side for now and made sure it lined up along the bottom. I'm going to shut it, and then when I open it, hopefully, yeah, it's kind of it's done it so that it's level, so it's all even. I mean, this bit at the back is slightly bigger than this bit at the front, the gap, but it's not bad. Not bad at all. So I'm just going to shut that again and make sure that's definitely stuck. So we're going to do the same with this one. Now with this one, obviously you're not going to put it in the middle, you're going to put it nearer the top. So you've got a little bit more room to play with. Let me just make sure I've got it lined up the right way around, which I haven't. So just turn that over. All right. So this is just going to fit in here, and I'm just going to make it just a little bit lower. And I just need to remember to make sure it's not like wonky, it's straight. So it is a bit more tricky to fit in, but I do find this a lot easier than doing the little S-shaped struts I used to do. When I first found out about pop-up box cards, I used to do the S-shaped struts. But I find this is easier. You've only got one piece to stick in, and it's just easier to line up. And again, just going to make sure it's... So I've put it in, I've sort of checked it's I think it's straight, and I'm just looking just to see if it's definitely straight. As long as it is, I can then press down and make sure it fits. And I have to say, doing it this way, I find you don't end up with wonkiness, which is always a good thing. Yep, that works well. So there we go. So that's your box pieces put in. So now the fun part, we can go ahead and decorate. So I've cut out all of my die cut embellishmenty bits that were left on my on the sheet in the digital pack. I stuck the paper, so because I printed it off on 120 GSM printer paper, I then went ahead and just stuck that onto a sheet of like Poundland card, like, you know, that really like the thin stuff. It's like 120, 100, yeah, something like that GSM. I stuck it onto that, and then once that are dried, or if you use an adhesive sheet, you can do it straight away. And then I've just cut them all out. So I'm going to go ahead now and just start adding them in. Now, the only thing you need to remember is your card cannot be taller than 7 inches. Otherwise, you're going to have to make a special envelope for it. So for that reason, I'm going to bring my scoreboard back in again and use it just to line stuff up. So I'll just move that over a little bit. So if I put this in so that the bottom edge lines up with the 7, I know that's the highest I can go. So if I just hold this in here like that, make sure that's in 7. So then when I'm putting this in, I can make sure that's the highest I can go. You also need to remember that whatever you put in can't go over this edge. So these are your parameters. The parameters are here, and obviously you can't go anything lower than the bottom, and you can't go more than 7 at the top. If you want to make an envelope that, you know, fits a bigger card, you can go ahead and do that. But if you want to stick to a 5x7, then it's tempting when you've got it open to have it like this, you know, going over the edge. But if you do that, when you shut it, it's going to be more than 5 inches wide. So just bear that in mind. So with that there like that, this on here, you can have it coming this way, you know, as much as you want, kind of that way, but you just don't want to go over on that other side. So I reckon I'm going to stick it there. Okay, so that's it for the day. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to check out In Love Art Shop and use my code ICEDImages to get 20% off. Don't forget to check out Etsy. Look at my papers, order them, whatever. And I'll see you again next time. Bye, everyone.